Okay, I think we're live. I'm just a few minutes early here. Just a couple of minutes early. And want to make sure everything was working okay. If you get on here, say hello. Tell me where you're from. I think it all looks like it's working okay. So that's a good thing, right? Let me see. I'm going to get my phone here ready too. That way it will... That way I can watch in case one place does not have the comments, then I will be able to watch it in another place. It's always best to have a backup plan, right? Well, happy Sunday, everybody. I hope everybody's doing good. I am still battling COVID. My husband and I have it. But we are much better than what we were, thank goodness. So that's why I'm going ahead and having this today. Kind of begin to wonder for a little bit if I was going to get to. But we are going to have it, right? I missed painting. We have been home for about 3 weeks, haven't gone anywhere, and it was a little rough. But thank goodness we're doing better. So, hi Joanne, and I missed painting with everybody. I sure did. So I got caught up in the membership painting with my membership gals, and so now we're going to do this winter one. And today we're doing the winter wishes, and warm winter wishes actually. And we got the snowman. I will go step by step with you guys, like I always do. And hopefully everybody has got the supply list already, have got your supplies ready to go. And we're going to paint this guy. Now, in case you haven't got it yet, grab you a hairdryer. Because you're going to need, we're going to start off, of course, with the background, and we're going to need to zap that a little bit to get that dry so we can start painting it. So if you haven't got your hairdryer, grab your hairdryer. The two most important things, of course, besides paint and brushes, is your hairdryer and also either a piece of chalk, or I have chalk here, or get a watercolor pencil or something that you can sketch with. So that's the two most important things that you're going to need with us today to be painting. But he's a cute little guy, or girl, whichever one you want to do. And I've got my mixed media pad that I am going to be painting on today. Let me get this volume down here just a minute. Shouldn't be on there. Maybe that'll help. So it looks like, I think people are, oh, now I'm not sure why that's on there. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can see the caption or not. I didn't put caption on there. Maybe that's a new thing. But let's go over our supplies. It's right now just a couple minutes past 4, and I said we were going to start at 4, and I'm glad you guys are here. If you're here and you're just coming on, please put say hello to us and then tell us where you're from. It's always kind of nice to know where everybody is from, right? And because they're from all over sometimes, and it's interesting to see all my painting friends. So I am Vicki Jean with Vicki Jean Wilson Art, and I teach you how to paint. It's acrylic painting mostly. Sometimes I do some watercolor, but I do some simple step-by-step techniques to where you can create art that you love to do. And a lot of times it's just fun little whimsical things. Sometimes we go a little bit more detailed, like what's kind of behind me here. This is, of course, a canvas that I did myself, and you know, before long, we're going to be having flowers, and we're going to be doing all kinds of flowers. We're going to be done with the winter. In fact, this is going to be my last winter one, actually. And then I'm going to be getting ready to do Valentine's one. So check on that, and make sure that you follow my page and stuff. And that way you kind of know what's going on. So I also have a YouTube channel also. And so hang on over there and subscribe to that. That'd be great. It's Vicki Jean Wilson Art. So let's get started. We've gave it a couple of minutes, and we'll see who else is going to get on here. And then we're going to start painting, guys. So hopefully, like I said, you saw the event. Suppose you did, or you wouldn't be here, or you saw it on my page, and you got the supply list from that. So let's go over. I'm going to change my camera here, and change it to where you can see the overhead cam. And then we're going to get started, guys. So here we are. We have got a variety of brushes, as you can see. I have got my mixed media pad. Now you might be painting on canvas, which is what the original painting is on, or you can paint on wood. There's so many things that you can do, but today, as far as teaching, I'm going to be painting on this right here, my mixed media pad. It is a 9x12 piece of paper, and this one here I think is an 8x10, I think. Let me see my ruler here. Not sure if that's an 8x10. Yeah, that's an 8x10 canvas. So as you can see, it's just a little bit smaller than my mixed media pad. So you can do this any size. I never usually tell you what size of canvases that I use, just for the fact that everybody has things different, and you might not have that in your supplies. So we will just sketch this out according to whatever size that you've got, right? So whatever size you have, whether it's a 6x6 or whether it's an 8x10 like this one, or a 9x12 like this, we're going to sketch it out together. So like I said, grab your hairdryer, grab you either a piece of chalk. In my case, I'm going to go ahead and probably use a watercolor pencil, which I use that a lot of times. You can use just a regular pencil also, but you should be able to see this better, and that's why sometimes I do that. I use a colored pencil or a watercolor pencil. So the brushes that we've got here, I have got a 1-inch flat brush. Now, if you don't have that, don't worry about that. But it is going to be easier, and I'm going to use it to do the background. It'll just be faster. I'm going to have a 1/2-inch flat brush, and we know these are flat brushes because, you know, it's flat on the top, right? Now, I've thrown in a 1/4 inch. I'm not sure if I even put that in supplies. Don't panic if I didn't. If you don't have that, don't worry about that. But I just threw that in the arsenal here, and I've got a 1/4 inch flat brush. I've got my round brush here. This is a 3 round. As you can see, it's round. It kind of doesn't quite come to a point, but it has more of a point. It's not flat at the end. And then I have my liner brush here. The liner is what we're going to use to do some of the small detail work, like the little arms and some of the little berries and greenery around here too. So we've got that. If you have chalk, you've got that, and then, or your pencil here. Now my paint's over here. It's right over here. Let me kind of move that just a hair over here. I think you can see it maybe a little bit better. I have white and black on my palette here, and I'm using a gray palette today. This is a glass gray palette. A lot of times when I mix paints, when you want different colors, the gray will help you be able to see the shades of it a little bit better than if you had it on white. You would think white would, but actually the gray helps. But we have got white and black. I've got a medium blue here. I've got brown, a dark brown. I've got red, got an orange, and I've got a green. Right now, I think that's all I'm going to put out on my palette. And of course, with these lights, it kind of dries quickly. So I sometimes have to put some more on there. But here we go. We are going to start sketching, guys. Are you ready? Are you ready to go? I hope you're ready to go. Hi, Gay. Let's see who was on here for just a minute. Grab your pencils for you to sketch with. Hi, Lynn. Thank you. I am better. I am better. My husband is too. Shelly is cutting in and out. I hope it doesn't, you know. I hope it's not. On my end, it's looking good. So, oh, good. We've got some kids joining too. I was hoping so. Southern Indiana, another Southern Indiana. Hi, Shelly. Glad you're here too. So remember to say hello when you come on. It's nice to see you guys, and it's nice to know where you're from too. So we're going to start sketching, guys. Let's go for it, right? Okay, the main thing we need to do first is, of course, our background. As you can see in my background, it's a very, I'll lift it up a little bit, it's a very light gray. Just a kind of a gray and a white that I'm mixing on here. It's haphazard, it's all over the place, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Just a very simple type of a background. I'm going to use my 1/2 inch flat brush. I'm coming over here and I'm loading it up in white. So load it up in the white. Let me move that palette over just a little bit more here, I think. There we go. So I'm loading it up in my white. And I've got it loaded up on my flat brush, my 1-inch flat brush, pretty thick here. Because I want to basically cover all of it. Now I know we're going to be painting over with the snowman most of this, but it's just better to go ahead and finish the whole background instead of just guessing how far you want to put the snowman and all that. So let's load our brush up, and then I'm just tipping a tiny bit. Can you see that? Just a little bit of black in that. I'm going to work that on my palette here to where I have a light gray. And as you can see, I'm just going back and forth. Kind of cross-hatching. Just back and forth. Across my palette. Across my mixed media pad, I mean. If I need to pick up a little bit of white, I'll pick up a little white. Kind of go back and forth. What you're doing is just coming across with a type of a background. A very soft, actually. Now, if you need to add a little water to it to make it flow better, a lot of times you do. See right this section right here? I just added some water to it before it dried. So it just kind of flows a little bit better if your paint gets a little too dry. You have to kind of move fairly quickly on this. It's not a right or wrong, but you just get it to where you like it. And the way I like mine is a little soft. See, you just got little hints of gray here and there. Might reload your brush. And just kind of move it back and forth. Now the trick here also is to keep your brush moving. Keep it moving. And like I said, if it doesn't want to start the paint moving on your pad or your canvas, add a tiny bit of water to your brush, and that will give it enough moisture to flow across your canvas or your mixed media pad. The mixed media pad, of course, is paper, and sometimes you do need to add a little bit more water to it to get it to flow. And I'm doing it all the way to the top, all the way at the bottom, and the sides. Make sure that you kind of do that. Get it all the way top to bottom. Don't want to leave any holes anywhere. Now you can't overwork it, and if you overwork it, it's not a big deal. It's just going to turn out a little gray. You're not going to see the cross-hatching or the brush marks. I wanted to show kind of the strokes of the brush. So that's why I want to kind of just stop. You'll get it to where you see how you like it. Like right through here, you can see some of the brush strokes. I like that. This over here is a little softer. No big deal. I can always add some more gray. See, just like that. Put a few more gray streaks in it. But the main thing is to get your background to where you're going to show up your snowman. So now if you want, this little guy, I added quite a bit of blue to him, as you can see. You don't have to do that. I just kind of made him an icy blue and then put white on top of him. Now if you want him like this, then this gray tone is going to be great. It's going to show up. Now if you want more of a white snowman instead of so much blue, then you're going to need your background a little darker to show up, right? Because if you had this too white and not enough gray, then, and you want a white snowman, of course, you're not going to be able to see it. So it kind of depends on if you like to do him with the more of the blue, which is like the icy blue here. It just kind of reminded me of winter. I love that color too, that shade. And so I'm going to leave mine just like this. I've got kind of a lighter shade of the gray. I've got my streaks showing, which I like. Robin from Oklahoma. Robin, I used to live in Oklahoma. What part of Oklahoma are you? I used to live in Tulsa. Long time ago. Long time ago. Okay, and also another little place in Oklahoma was a little tiny town called Wagner. Wagner, Oklahoma. It's a little, well, it might not be little now, but it was. So it's good to have you guys. Okay, how's our background going? And what you need to do now is take your hair dryer and let's zap that. I'm going to put mine under the table here, so maybe keep it from being quite as loud, and get your background dry now, guys. It doesn't take too awful long to dry that if you've not used a lot of thick paint. And you know, there's really, most of the time, there's not any need to use real thick paint unless that's your goal. You want to, and you're using a palette knife or something like that. But most of the time, you don't need to, and it just it dries much faster if you can kind of keep it even in your paint even across your surface. Okay, so we have got our background, and as you can see, it's basically, you know, similar to this one, and like I said, it is different painting on the paper compared to canvas, but that's just part of it. So we're going to start to sketch this. Now, I didn't give you a tracer. A lot of times, sometimes I do, and I offer that. This time I wanted you to be able to sketch, because I know you can, because I'm going to show you how to do that. So look at your surface that you have, whether it's a canvas or whether it's the mixed media pad. Now, like I explained to you, this one's larger than what I've got here. So whatever size that you guys got, we're going to start, and we're going to do the first, we're going to do the little sign up here, because I'm afraid if we don't start out with that, we might get a little crazy down here. That's one way of putting it. So look how my sign is across the top, and I have some background on the top of it, right? So I didn't do it at the very top of my canvas, so I came down a little bit. Now remember, kind of look at your your canvas you got, or your mixed media pad, and look at the size. We want to try to get it halfway centered, right? So the body of the snowman kind of comes off. We don't have it rounded at the bottom or anything. So he's going to come off the end. So you want the top of his little bucket here below your sign. Your sign is centered. So kind of come down from the top, right? And then we're going to start sketching this sign. Now your sign, basically, when you do sketching, any type of sketching, you just basically look at this shape of things, right? So if you break this down and you take this off here and this off here, you've basically got a rectangle right through here. It's just an arch. You have an arch at the top of that rectangle and a little bit of arch at the bottom. So when you look at it like that, let's go ahead and sketch that. So I know I want to come down from my top a little bit. And the best way is kind of make little tick marks. If I want the top of my sign, I'm going to want it right there. Can you see that? Let me see if I can get me another pencil here. It might show up a little bit more. Okay, mine's going to be a little darker. Now, you only really want to sketch dark enough to where you can see it, right? So in my case, I'm going to do it pretty dark so you guys can see. So this is going to be the top of my sign. The side of my sign is going to be probably right here. And my other side is going to be right there. Then the bottom of my sign is going to be about right here. So the top and the bottom and the sides. Now that's just this rectangle shape, not this here. So let's make an arch. We're going to start at one side, and we're going to just sketch that around that way. And see if I just kind of ovaled it a little bit. Then we're going to go down here to the bottom, and we're going to come across like that, across like that, and that's our sides. So it's a little bit loopy here. I kind of did a little bit. It's kind of different when you're doing it, not looking at it. So I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, kind of even it out a little bit more. So basically you have your rectangle shape, and then you're going to come down on the side here, see right here, you're going to start at the top and just come out like that, kind of a little loop. You're going to go in and then out, okay? We're going to jump on this side, do the same thing. At the one of the left side, going to come out like a little ribbon, go in a little bit, go out a little bit. Okay, so we've got them both that on each side, right? Then on the bottom of this, coming in maybe a ½ inch, you're going to pull it back down and meet up with it. Pull it back down and meet up with that little point. There you go. Now, it doesn't really matter how wide you make it or how thin you make it. You know, this one's wider than this one. That's okay. That's fine. It's no big deal. No big deal at all. It just depends. The main thing, let me get this right here. It might confuse you. Kind of erase some of these little tick marks so it don't get too crazy for you. You can see. You see? There you go. Now we have our banner right here. Now come on down. Now you know, like I said, his body's going to come off the side, off the end here. You want to have enough room on the right side to put this little tree. So you don't want his body coming all the way across, right? You want to have room for that little tree. So let's go ahead and let's kind of sketch out that little tree. We're just going to do real simple trunk, tree trunk right there. We're going to come up. We'll make a top of the tree here. And basically, it's basically, as we're talking about shapes, it's basically a triangle, right? Except I just did some little scallops. Just little scallops. So we're going to come down triangle-wise. And the very bottom is like little scallops. 1, 2, 3. And meet right back up at the top. See? Pretty simple. Point at the top. Then we're going to have a little bird up there, but right now we're just doing the tree. 1, 2, 3 scallops. Now in my case, he has kind of melted a little bit. You know, he's a little chubby, and he's kind of melting around. So he's kind of got some little drips and things. Now you can make your snowman how you want him. If you want him skinny, you can have skinny. If you want him chubby like mine, you can have chubby. But the main thing we need to kind of do is make sure that we get the proportion right. So let's start out with his hat. And basically all that is it's just a bucket. Upside down bucket, right? The main thing is you want to come down from your banner. And I've got mine about a little over an inch on the bottom, just a line here. Okay, I'm going to come down, angle that bucket down. So basically you are just sketching an upside down bucket, just like that. Line across the bottom, line across the top, which is kind of curved a little bit, and then you're just angling the sides. Now, you wouldn't have to angle the sides. I did. You can just, like an old-fashioned bucket, and keep it just a square shape if you want. So that gives us an idea. We have plenty of room right up here now, and we've got our tree. So we're going to move on down and do his head. So his head fits, as you can see, of course, inside the bucket. You don't want to go outside of that bucket. So I'm going to start here. Just going to sketch you a face. Now, I just sketched that. If you want to use something round and trace around it, sure, go right ahead and do that if that's easier for you, and then just put it down. If you can find something that size, that's right, but I just sketched his little shape of his face there. Okay. Now, the next thing, we're going to go ahead and do his body instead of worrying about this scarf here. So if you can see his face here, and then we're just going to come down, give him a little bit of a neck, and then just shape his body however you want it. That's up to you. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to come down like that. Go on this side. Now, I kind of made him over the front of this tree. I don't have to, but probably will do it again, just like I did that one. So his body kind of comes a little bit over the front of that tree. He's a little sappy. Okay, guys. Right now, we can stop for a minute. So I want you to be able to have your banner up here. You've got his upside down bucket. You've got the face, and you've got the shape of the body. Don't worry yet about the scarf, the arms, anything else. Now you can just take a little breather. I'm going to get me a drink of tea here while everybody's kind of getting caught up. Hi, Denise from snowy Atlanta. How much snow did you get? They were talking about us getting some, but we didn't get any at all. Not even a dusting. Of course, I'm Southern Indiana. And we didn't get anything. Okay, guys, did you get your sketching on here? I hope that wasn't too difficult for you. I tried to break it down. You've got your background. We've got the hardest part of the sketching done. So we're going to start back up here. Oh, I bet it is beautiful. I bet. I love snow. I mean, I don't like getting in it. Like I said, we have been inside because of COVID and not felt good. So we haven't been out. We've had all the food delivered. Yeah. Didn't need to get any gas or anything because we haven't been anywhere. So we've never had the food delivered, but boy, that's handy though, I have to say. Geez, that's really handy. I've heard of people having that and doing that, and yeah, when you need it, it's very helpful. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab my 1/2-inch flat brush. Now it kind of, Evansville, Indiana, Linda. Yeah, very southern Indiana, Evansville, Indiana. I'm going to use my 1/2-inch flat brush, and I'm going to we're going to base coat this blue inside here. So I'm going to grab my medium blue, load my 1/2-inch brush up. See, I'll work it back and forth in my paintbrush, and we're just painting this. We're just painting it. Just a solid color right now. Now this is the time if you want to kind of change the shape of it a little bit, if you didn't quite get it the shape that you wanted it, now you can kind of play with it and get the shape that you would like. Oh, you're in Evansville too? Well, isn't that funny? It's a small world, isn't it? Well, it's nice to meet you. Uh-oh, Birmingham is still waiting for snow. Okay, just kind of come along, just paint. All we're doing now is just kind of filling in this. Now, if this brush is too large for you, 1/2-inch, it kind of just depends how large your banner was. Just go ahead and grab a smaller brush. Okay. I think that blue's kind of pretty. The one I am using here is a cerulean blue. It's pretty. It's a pretty one. Okay. The monitor, when I look at the monitor, it looks a little darker than what it actually is. So I don't know how it looks to you guys. Okay. Now, as you can see here for the sign, the top of this, I've got lighter, just to add a little highlight, but we've got to wait till that dries. So it's basically coated solid, like we've got, and then we shaded a little darker at the bottom to show a little shadow part. So see where the rectangle part comes, like the ribbon or the banner part. Underneath that, you're going to do a little darker. Now that could be a darker blue or it could be a brown. In this case, it's going to be a brown. So I'm going to get a smaller brush now. I'm going to use my 1/4 inch now. I wouldn't have to, but I think I'm going to try to get this a little darker and not too wide. See, it'll kind of fit a little bit better. So I'm going to load up my brush here. See, in the blue. And I'm just touching a tiny bit of brown. And then I'm mixing that together. Now, if you want to use a darker blue, you can. See, I'm just mixing that. So I want just a kind of a muddy blue, I mean. Darker, a little bit darker blue. I'm coming around that bottom part of that ribbon, or the sign. So you just kind of shade it. See how that's just a little darker there? Doing the same thing on the other side. Start at the top and just kind of follow that rectangle around the side and the bottom. Just pull that paint out. So you don't want it dark all the way out here on the edge. You just want it underneath it, basically. Need to add a little bit more lighter blue. Go right ahead. So just kind of soften that a little bit. You don't want a line. You want it to have just a little bit of darker shading right under there. I'm going to lift that up and see if you can see that. Can you see that? Just a little darker around here and underneath, and around that side and underneath. Okay? Okay, just like I said on the top too, you want to do a highlight. This is like a shading, so it adds some depth. It looks like it's underneath this, because it's darker, it's a darker color. So it looks like it's behind this piece right here because this is lighter. So now we want to lighten up the top part of our banner. And basically, you can do it this way by adding, I'm going to do the same blue. And just like I did it with brown and added a touch of brown, I'm adding a touch of white. And I'm just lightening up. Let me get all the brown out of my brush here. I'm just going to get a lighter shade of blue. If I need to add more white, I'll add more white. So it's easy, just add a little bit of white. Now what I'm going to do now is just kind of barely touch it on the top. I don't want a streak, but I just want a little highlight of a light blue or a white. That's going to be on the top all the way across, like that little ribbon here's got a little bit of light to it, and over here's got a little bit of a lighter color to it. Okay. Just kind of bring it across gently. You need to add a little water to it to kind of blend it. Go ahead. Just mix it back and forth. Kind of soften that. Just want a little bit of a highlight there. And that's kind of a quick way of doing it. You can do it with different mediums or different things that you can use to soften it, but we're just going to do it real quick with just with water. Okay. Now if you wanted it, if I wanted it a little bit lighter, I can just dip my brush back into the white and kind of go a little bit more if I want. Okay. The main thing, you just want to show just a little bit of a highlight. Here we go. I'm fine with that. Get that to where you like it. Okay. We're going to go ahead and jump on down. We're going to start on the next thing, which will be his body, actually. We're going to do the body first because the hat or the bucket, whatever, comes down over his head. So we're going to do the background of the face and his body. Now, this is just depending on how you want to paint. You're the artist, as I tell everybody. It's your painting. You decide how you want it. If you want more of a white snowman and not so much icy blue, then add more white. If you like the icy blue, all I did to do that is use this medium blue and just mix the white with it and made the kind of the shade that I like. So now, since the blue is a stronger color, I'm dipping my brush in just the white here, and I'm barely touching the blue because it's going to be stronger. It's going to the pigment stronger. So I'm getting the color that I really want. If I have to add a little bit more white, I will. So if you want like an icy blue, that's a pretty blue. So basically I am just painting the face solid and the body. Now if you want it more white, then by all means get your white on there. Going all the way down. Just painting it, going up and down, trying to kind of keep the movement like the snowman, like his body is kind of rounded down here, so I'm kind of arching my paintbrush just a tad, kind of keep the brush strokes. Kind of the shape of his body. Now you can always, if you get too much blue, if you don't like that, then you always can add more white, which is what we're going to do here in just a little bit too. Can't wait to see some of these guys. I hope you share your pictures and make sure you go all the way off your canvas or off your mixed media pad here, if that's how you're going to paint him. Mine is off the bottom. Okay. There we go. That's basically about the same kind of icy blues I had here. Kind of fill all of that in. While you're doing that, I'm going to get me some more white paint out here. I use all kinds of paints. I got all kinds of paints. A lot of times on these I just use what I've got handy, and all grades, all grades of paints. But on these little tutorials, I don't use a expensive paint. I use my cheaper paints. Okay. So if you've done the icy blue for the background, now, as you can see his body, it's just white. And what I've done is use my 1/2-inch brush, loaded up in some white, and I've just kind of crosshatched, kind of like what we did on the background. You just kind of make some marks. Just make some marks on his face, and just kind of come across, add some white here and there, however you like. Now I do keep in mind to keep the shape, kind of the shape of the, like we talked about, kind of keep the flow and the shape of his body. So if it kind of curves, I kind of make my brush curve. You know, use your brush strokes to tell that story too. It's not only through the paint, but you use your brush strokes to help tell the story of your painting. Now I did movement. Now if I want to kind of go back and forth too, I can do that. So however you want to make him look. If you want to add more movement, then go right ahead. Okay. I think I'm kind of done with him right now. I think I'm okay. Well, you can see you can always add more, of course, but you're going to be having the scarf and his arms, I mean everything, you know, of course his facial features. So you've got a lot more to add here. Let everybody kind of get caught up here. How's everybody doing? Give me a thumbs up or something if you're having fun with this. Good, Linda. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I know everybody gets so busy. It's nice just to take a breather in the winter and just do something like this. Get our mind off of so many things that are so negative. It's easy to go down that rabbit hole. It's nice to do something like this. Okay. Now I didn't use a lot of paint, just enough to make the texture on it with my brush. So mine's pretty dry. Check to see how dry yours is. If you need to zap it with a hair dryer, go ahead and zap it. Good, Vicki. You want this to be dry before you start putting the facial features on. So I'm going to go ahead. Mine's not bad, but I am going to zap him real quick. You guys do the same to get him good and dry. Okay. It's not bad. Pretty dry. Okay, let's go ahead and let's start with his little bucket. Now, you could do like a metal bucket. In my case, I just did kind of a, it almost looks like a one of those barrels instead of a bucket, you know. Could be something like that too. Uh, oh, good. Oh, it's your first time. Well, good, Kathy. Yay. I'm glad to have you. Um, so what I've done on mine, I've used brown, and then basically kind of the same way we did here with the shading and the highlighting. I'm going to do the same thing with the buckets. So if you want to do a brown kind of bucket for his head, then I'm going to get my smaller brush here, which I'm using a 1/4 inch brush. I'm loading it up with my brown, and we're just painting that solid. Now now's the time, if you didn't get the exact shape you wanted in sketching, now try to kind of do that now with your painting. Just paint over your lines or make them however you want. Don't do it real thick. You don't need to. You will probably need, if you're doing brown, you will probably need more than one coat. So it's best if you just smooth that paint out. Sometimes people have a misconception that if you put it on really thick, it will cover, and it doesn't. It doesn't. Usually doesn't. Now, unless you're doing something with palette knife, that's a totally different thing. But like when you're painting and you need to, you're pretty sure you're going to need to do more than one coat, just smooth it out and do one coat. Let that bad boy dry, and then it will coat again much better than if you put just a blob of thick paint on there. It takes a lot longer to dry too, and you don't need to. Well, while we've got our brown out, we can come down here. Now, you will kind of be careful and don't get your elbow in it. But I'm going to go ahead. Now, watch me. I'll probably get my elbow in it. But I'm going to go ahead and paint my trunk of my tree since I got my brown out. And they're going to need more than one coat. I'm just kind of coming down with the shape of the tree. A lot of times I do start out and we do paint kind of most of the time at the top and go down for that fact of sometimes it's, if you don't pay attention, you sit here and get your arm in it and everything else. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and do that. So while we're waiting on those to dry, let's go ahead and sketch out his face. So I'm going to get my blue pencil again. And let me see here, yeah. Well, no, I'm going to change that. I'm going to use a watercolor pencil, guys. Use a watercolor pencil. So let's look at his face here a minute. While we're letting the brown dry, we're going to go ahead and sketch. Now, look at the proportion again. Of course, you've got your two eyes. Your nose is larger. And it is, I've got mine kind of in the center. He starts out, I sketch him in the center, and then he kind of goes up to the right. Then you've got your mouth, right? So to me, the easiest way to do this is to come down from your bucket. You're going to leave a little bit of room because you've got some greenery to go through here, right? So let's come down and make sure we have enough room for the greenery. And I'm going to do a little mark there where I want the eye and a little mark there where I want the eye. So the eyes are not halfway down, halfway, like between the top of his forehead and his chin down here. The middle part would be the nose. So the eyes will go above that, right? So like from the top here to the bottom, my center of his face is right here. So my eyes are above that. So at the center, I'm going to go ahead and do like a little C there, and then draw out that nose. Yeah, the nose. So I've got his eyes and I've got his nose. Let me lift that up, see if you can see that better. You see it? So I've got his eyes and I've got his nose and I've got enough room around here to add my greenery and berries and stuff. So now let's go down below the nose and let's do his mouth. Now, I've got several little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8. You don't have to do that many. Just kind of see however many little coal pieces you want for his mouth. But the way I do that is start at the largest part of his nose and come down. That will be your middle. That will be your middle part of your mouth, like this one here. Come down, and then just go up from that, however many. So I start on my right side and kind of just put some little dots here. And then I start on the left side from that center one and move up however many I want on that side. So you just kind of play with that to see how many you like, right? Then I'll do a little pink cheek here and a little pink cheek over here. But the main thing we need is just where you want the eyes, the nose, and the black hole of the mouth. Okay, let's jump on down here to his body. And I have like 3 pieces of coal for the buttons. You can do however many you want. Make sure that you leave your room up here under his neck for the scarf. You know, you don't want to get in that area, so come on down to his body and do the coal. So go ahead and sketch that in there too. So when you get to this point, you should have his eyes, his nose, and his mouth penciled in. Then you've got his buttons here. Okay. Now while we're going ahead sketching, let's go ahead and do the scarf. You can do a scarf different ways. I actually did it really simple, and I'll show you how I did mine. So where his neck is here, I just come down from his head, like here's his head, right? I come down about a 1/2 inch and just did a scarf from one side to the next. See that? Just from one side to the next. Then what I did, I'm going to have the sides of that scarf come out. So the top of the scarf here, right on next to his face, is going to come out however long you want it. Come across, and then you're just going to meet up with this one. That. Going to come here, go down, meet up with that one. You see that? So you're coming underneath his chin and kind of out the shape that you want the scarf, like kind of blowing in the wind a little bit, both sides. Then come underneath, a little bit lower, and that'll be the bottom part of your scarf. Okay. Okay, guys, that was the hardest part. So we have his eyes and mouth, nose, buttons, scarf, and let's just leave that right now. We're going to go ahead and put our pencil down. And let's go ahead. Your brown should be ready to coat again for your little barrel or bucket. So go ahead and paint that again. Most likely it's going to need another coat. Mine does. Like I said, remember, just kind of smooth out your brush strokes. You don't need to put it on thick. Takes longer to dry like that. And then jump on down here to your tree. and paint your trunk at the same time. Like I said, now is the time if you want to change the shape of it. Now's the time to do it. Okay. Looking good, guys. Okay. And we're going to let those two things dry. And let's go ahead and do the tree here, the little green tree. And basically all that is we're going to paint it solid green, and we're going to highlight these little like scallops. But basically it's solid. So I'm going to load up my brush, smaller 1/4 inch brush in my green. This brush is about had it. And we're just painting it solid. Now I had mine kind of come behind my snowman. So go right up next to the side of the snowman. Just paint them real, just solid. It's kind of the same with the when painting the brown. Just do a light coat, and then you're going to let that dry. Probably need a second coat, most likely on the green. Now I might want to grab my round brush, my round 3, and get more of a point at the top of that tree here. It was a little difficult to do. So change your brush if you need to get the shape of it better. Now guys, in the comments in a little bit, it will be when we finish, but check back on this, and I'm going to, I have a list that I will give you that's kind of my favorite painting supplies that I use. Of course I have a lot, but this is a few of my favorite ones, and if you would like a copy of that, I will post that in our on our group here, and that way if you would like to get that, a copy of that, then I'll send that to you. Now some of my favorite painting supplies that I use. You'll have to give me a few minutes to get that on there when we get done. Actually, this is one of them. This here on my mixed media pad. It's the one that I use a lot. And it's on the list. Actually, my green is pretty good. I'm not going to have to coat that again, but you might have to. I don't know. So you'll have to just see if you need to coat your tree again. Go ahead and do that when it gets dry. I'm waiting on my brown up here to dry too. Now as you can see, we did this solid, the tree. Now on this one here, I've kind of got it just straight on the sides, but when I start coming into paint, I'm going to scallop this and it'll come out on the outside a little bit more. So when we paint the center of the tree solid, this is just the lighter green. And basically what that is I load my brush up in the green and I just tip the end of it in the white and kind of mix that together. So I have a lighter shade, or a tint actually, of my green. So I've got a lighter green without having a whole lot of extra paint colors. I'm just doing it like that. So I'm coming down, I'm starting at the top of my tree and I'm just scalloping that. I'm going to have to do a little lighter, I think, but I'll give you the idea here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, so let me lighten that up a little bit more. Come down and kind of scallop that bottom. See how that's done? Like here. Then I'm going to come down a little bit farther. And just kind of like little curlicues here. See? And the bottom part. Okay. So basically the little bottom part is what is lighter. Kind of scallop these. Blend that together. And just kind of add however much dark or light green that you need. And the basic part of it is the very bottom of these scallops are lighter. See, this is lighter here, that's lighter here, that's lighter here. Just kind of gives it some other little kind of fun little look. You can use it solid green if you want it like that too. However you want. However you want to do your tree. It's your tree. Just kind of little, I just call them scallops. I don't know what else to call them. I think that's kind of a good word for it, maybe. Just smooth it out how you like it. If you want just a solid triangle tree, then go for that. That works too. Now on top of that little tree, we've got a small cardinal. And what you're going to need for that is probably your liner brush. You can use your small round brush. So whatever you have, either your small round or your liner brush. And I'm going to show you the shape of this bird. I'm going to load my liner brush in the red, the solid red. And the shape of this bird, I'm putting him right on top of that tree, and he's looking up. See, he's kind of looking up at the snowman, right? So here's his tail feathers down here on the tree. He's sitting, so his main body is sitting on the top of that tree. And then his head's up here, right? So let's do this together. Get your red paint, get your brush, let's go for it. You're going to touch the top of that tree in red. You're going to do an oval right on top of that tree. Small oval. Now think of proportion-wise. You don't want a great big old bird on this small tree. So I'm just doing a small oval. Looks like an egg actually sitting on top of that tree. You see it? Then on top of that egg, now this is going to be round, so that's his head. Let me lift it up so you can see it a little closer. So I've got the oval here on top of the tree. Then on top of that is a little round head. And now the bottom, you're just going to pull some little tail feathers out. And that's actually on your tree part. There you go. Simple little red bird. Now it's a cardinal, so on top of his head, he's got those feathers that come up. See? Now try to keep it in proportion. You know, you don't want a big old head and a little tiny body. You want to kind of get him the same size with his head and his body. Of course, his body is larger, but I'm going to wash my brush out, and I've got it in black now, solid black, my liner. Part of, a cardinal's head is just, it's black, actually. His face. And it's not like a big deal here. You don't have to get it exactly perfect, but you just want to show a little bit of black on that face. I know that's tiny for you to see, so you might not be able to see it actually very well. Just kind of play with that. And you just put a beak, just a little kind of an orangey yellow beak on right next to that, on that face. Okay. And it's aiming towards the snowman. So that beak is going towards that snowman. So just play with that bird just a little bit. If you need to add a little bit more red or whatever, go right ahead and do that. It's not meant to, it's just meant to kind of have a look of a cardinal in there. Now I add a tiny bit of white for his eyeball. Which you can't hardly see, but he's on there. Okay, let me kind of show you a little closer. Can you see that now? A bit closer. That's probably a little blurry. It wants to get blurry when I get close to that overhead camera, but hopefully you can see that enough. Okay, guys, it's not bad. Get his little beak on there. And I just used a yellow-orange color for that. Something to show the color. Okay, nice. Well, let's go ahead and we're going to jump up to, let's go ahead and run up here to the bucket. We've got it brown, right? You've got it all brown. Now, as you can see, I've got some black that's running, like little rungs that's running across. So let's do that. I'm going to use my liner brush and load my liner in the black. And at the very top and the very bottom, whichever one you're looking at, I'm kind of holding my breath and bringing a black line across. The top of it, the bottom of it, just a black band all the way across on the brown. Then kind of divide it. If you want one in the middle, that's fine. Or if you want two other ones, and kind of check it out, eyeball it, and see where you would want to put the black. So I tried to get it 4 black lines. You see that? Let me show you a little closer. Maybe you can see if I angle it just a little bit. See the kind of the top, the bottom, and 2 in the middle is how I've done that. Okay. Now, you can get all fancy here. I did some little chains, or you can just do like handles on the side of the bucket. See, kind of coming out like that. Do something that kind of makes it look more like a bucket. You could either do these little tiny chains here, or you can do a couple of rings here like this. Just makes it look a little bit more detailed. We're not spending a lot of time on it. Just something to give it some design. Okay. Now while we're waiting on that bucket to dry, because we're going to have to add some highlights to it, and if we have to wait till that black is really good and dry, or as you can see, we're getting it all smeared. Let's go ahead and do the eyes and the nose. Let's do the face part of the snowman. He's looking at us. He needs to be done here. So I'm going to use my liner brush, just tipping it in the black, solid black, and I'm making the eyes. Now, you can make them completely round if you want, or you can make them a little bit misshapen to look like coal. Mine kind of looks like coal. You're going to go ahead and do the mouth the same way. Now, be careful. Be careful. One thing I do stress when we're doing these, especially for the mouth, you can get carried away real easy on the size. So what I recommend is start small, just tapping and moving on to the next one. You can always increase the size, but if you start out real large, you're going to have to do them all real large. And a lot of times you get them too large. So start out small. Move it around there. And you're going to come on down when you get that done, and you go ahead and finish up your little cold buttons down here. Same solid black. Kind of misshapen. I don't like mine all exactly circular. And the buttons are larger than your mouth and that area, because they're closer to you. They're made to look a little closer to you. If you want to do eyelashes, you sure can. Or if you want to, however you want to do those eyes. Now he's coming along, isn't he, guys? Is everybody doing good? We've been on here a little bit, but we're moving along too. Done good. Oh, Linda, I'm glad it's relaxing. I think it's relaxing. Some people don't. Some people it makes them nervous, but I really try to do my best to walk you step by step because I don't want you to be nervous. I want you to enjoy it. It's a whole part of what I like to do and love to do. I like teaching people to paint and have fun with it. Have fun with it. Like I said, guys, if you're wanting a copy of my favorite painting supplies, be sure to check in the comments section, and I will post that as soon as we get done. Okay, we've got the eyes and the mouth and your little buttons here. We're going to have to let them dry just a little bit. So let's go ahead and let's jump to painting the nose. Now, my nose on this one is kind of a darker orange, deeper orange. And I just mixed some red with some yellow to make it. And I'm just going to paint it using my round brush. Kind of got his nose kind of turned up on the end a little bit. I kind of like that look. So just fill in his nose there. I don't do it straight. He's kind of got a funny little carrot shape. Give it a little bit more character. It's got little bumps and he's coming alive now, isn't he, guys? You might want to use your liner to kind of perfect that shape of that nose if you want. Point it on the end. Okay. Okay, got him all his nose painted. Okay. Now when you're black, if it gets your eyes and your buttons, when they get dry enough, take your liner brush and just dip it a little bit in white and touch just a little dash of white on the buttons. Mine's on like the top right side, and a little dash or dot for his eyes in the black. There. Now that makes him come alive. Just that little twinkle in his eyes makes a difference. Okay. Still a highlight on the buttons. Now on the carrot nose too, I've got some white still on my liner brush, and I'm just tapping the top of that carrot with some white. Just a little bit, running some white across the top of that carrot, just touching a little bit so it has a highlight there. And then the bottom part of the carrot, I'm adding a little bit of brown to it. I'm right on that orange, but I'm just adding a couple of extra colors, a little bit of white on top and a little bit of brown on the bottom. Give it some depth. There we go. You might want to use your liner, or you might want to use your round brush too. Whatever you've got available, it's easier for you to work with. Let me lift that up so you can see that a little closer. See how his nose is? A little bit of a highlight here with white on the top, and then a little darker brown on the bottom of that carrot. Gives like a 3D effect, not just a orange stick there on his nose. Okay, guys. Now, if your bucket is dry, we're going to highlight that. It's really quick and easy. You can take either your 1/2-inch brush or your 1/4-inch brush, and what you're going to do is dip it in white, and then you're going to work it out of your brush. It's almost a dry brush. If you've ever painted with me, sometimes we use that. And you're barely putting your brush in the paint, which in this case is going to be white. Then you're taking it over here on your palette and you're actually going back and forth with your brush to where you're working most of it off your brush. And what this is just a light coat of white, real dry brush, and you're going across your bucket. You see that? See how it kind of picks up a little bit of highlight? You don't want, if it doesn't show up much, you might have to do it again, but you don't want to show like a white streak. It's just more or less a highlight in the bucket. There we go. That might show you a little bit better there. See? Okay. Now, while I still have paint on my 1/2-inch brush, I'm going to load it up in white again. And I'm going, if you're wanting your scarf white, see mine is white and black, a little bit of gray here. But if you want it like that, go ahead and paint your scarf white while we've got our flat brush ready. Go right underneath his chin. Now you might want to do a different color, and that's cute too. But on mine, I've got a black and white kind of striped one, and that's kind of what I want to do for him. You're just going to need probably 1 coat of white. Now, if you're going to paint it a different color, go ahead and do that too right now. We're moving right along, guys. He's got a little detail to him. Which makes him fun. You don't want a boring snowman. You kind of smooth it out. I'm going to paint that a little thick here. Kind of smooth it out there. Let that dry real good. And his little eyes and nose kind of cute. I'm going to take a sip of tea while we're kind of catching up here. Okay, let's go ahead and do the greenery around his face, and I'm using my liner brush. I'm dipping it in the green paint here. Now, this is, let me see if I can get one going here. It's just like little leaves, kind of like little greenery coming out, different places. I've got it at the top of the bucket, and I've got them around his, kind of framing his face. And I'm using the liner. Now, you can use it however you want, and they're just small little dashes. I'm going to do a couple here, and then I'm going to show you closer up so you can kind of see. This is with a liner brush, and I got my paint kind of soupy, actually. When you use a liner brush, most of the time you need to get it thinned out, which of course with acrylic paint, we thin it with water. So you dip your brush in the water and sometimes blot it on your towel, and then you load your paint up on there, and it makes it inky, kind of inky. And it's easier to do little lines with your liner. I'm going to try to do this and then show you real quick here. And I'm just doing some greenery, like I said, at the top of the bucket and at the bottom of the bucket. Here we go. See how that is? I've just touched, and my paint is pretty inky on my brush, and I just come out and do some line work. So it almost looks like a little fir tree, off a fir tree. Leaves, pine cone kind of things. However you want to do it, but just thin lines, and just do however many you want on there. And then the berries are simple little red berries that I kind of mix in with those leaves. Just about 3 berries at a time. Kind of like a dot, and another dot, and another dot. I'm just going to bring them around your, however many you want on the bucket. Kind of up to you. You can always add more later if you want to. See? Kind of like that. Isn't that kind of cute? Now, an easy way to make little berries too is to use the handle of your brush. But I kind of wanted mine not quite so perfect, so I'm just using my liner and dabbing on there. My berries look like the birds have been pecking at them a while. They're hungry. Okay. How we doing, guys? We still doing good? You hanging with me? Okay, my scarf is pretty dry. Let's go ahead and do our scarf now. Now, you can see mine. I just did random stripes. You know, I painted it all white, like we did down here. And then I've just done some wider black stripes all the way across. They aren't perfect stripes. They're just kind of, some is a little wider, some's a little narrow. So let's just do that now. And I'm going to use my round brush, dipping it in my black loading it on there. And I'm going to start at one side and just go across like that. Keep loading it up. Make a space in between. Just follow that scarf all the way across from one side to the other. And I hope you guys have had fun with this guy. He's cute. Thought he was fun to do. Nice little winter. I mean, who doesn't like snowman? I don't know. You can't beat a snowman. They're too cute. I'm just bringing it all the way across, from one end to the other, one side to the other. And like I said, I'm not doing any certain size, width, or whatever. I didn't want it. I just wanted him to look like he had an older scarf on. Now, I am going to be having a Valentine one coming up, a free paint day too, so be sure to check back with me. Check on my page and so you can join me on that too. If you think you might like to paint candy, well, then you might need to join me. Especially chocolates, right? I mean, who doesn't want to learn how to paint some chocolates? Maybe have some to eat while you're painting, and just think of all kinds of fun. Okay, I've got my stripes across here. Now on this one here, I made some fringe coming out. I'll show you how to do that if you like to. There again, like I said, on your any kind of line work, you're going to load your brush up with some water and whatever paint and kind of make it inky. And it makes your lines a lot smoother, a lot more narrow. And at the end of on each one of these scarves, the sides of the scarf, I mean, then I've just kind of pulled some black lines down and out to make the fringe. That side and this side. Just adds another little fun element to your painting. You know, painting is, you can make it as easy or as complex as you want. The more little designs and elements you add, that's what makes it fun. That's what the creativity is all about. Okay, and that didn't take but just a minute, and look how much that added to that. Now, one thing we don't have on him yet is the arms. Now, the arms are just either black or brown. This is kind of a mixture of both. I think I've added some brown to some black here. So I've already got black on my liner brush. I'm just going to dip it in the brown. So I've got a mixture of black and brown on there. And we're going to make our branches. They come from behind the scarf here. Look like it's behind, the scarf's in front of it. And I just come out. Now, you want to have a little character to your branch. Don't just do some sticks sticking out. Don't just come out with a straight line. I don't want to see that, guys. I want you to have some character to it. So, there might be a part of the branch that's straight. You might want to start out straight, but make it curve. Make it bend. You want to have some thick and thin pieces to the branch. Some might want to point down. Some might want to point up. Just think about your branches on your trees. They're thick, they're thin. Some parts of them are skinny, some parts of them aren't. Now, there again, you don't want to go crazy on this. You can get out of hand. It can get away from you real quick. So just do a little bit at a time. Step back, look at it, see if the branch looks good to you. See if it's the right length. You might want to come out a little bit more. I've got a pretty good size snowman. His body's pretty good size, so I'm going to pull my branch out just a little bit farther. Kind of get him more in proportion to his size. So there's my one. I'm going to do the other one, still using my liner with a mixture of brown and black both on my brush. Now I'm going to turn this around because it's easier for me to paint it like that. And it's going to come back behind that scarf again. Yeah. I could have brought it down here, but I don't have a whole lot of room down here, so we're just going to do it like this. Remember what I said, add some character to these. Branches go down, they go towards the sky. They're not just straight sticks. They might bend over each other. Try to get both of your branches on each side kind of the same proportion, There we go. Okay, I think I'm going to leave him just like that. I like that. I've got some small little branches. I've got some wider branches. Some's facing upwards, some's going out, some's going down. Guys, we are moving along and getting this done. Now, one thing I noticed that we haven't made any cheeks. I've got little tiny pink cheeks at the end of his coal mouth on each side. So if you want to take, I'm going to use a little bit of red here on my brush, mix it with white. If you want, you have your own pink color, that's just fine too. I'm just going to mix it real simple. And I'm just making a little pink circle. Cheeks. Every little element, every little thing that you take a little bit time to do and to create makes a difference. It's just layers. It's layers and layers. And just create and have fun with it. That's the main thing. Have fun. Life's short. Have fun. Okay. Now, guys, we have about got this. Now, one thing I put as optional for you guys, let me show you one that I have here. There's all kinds of different things that you can do and buy. Like this is a glitterific. Now it's gold. I don't want to do gold, but this is just an idea. This is by Folk Art that you can use for an option. I just said it was optional for like glitter paint. Here is some Folk Art. This is extreme glitter. This is silver. This is what I'm going to use on this to add just a little bit of punch of fun, little color to my snowflakes. You probably can't even see it very much, but when you paint, see, it's got a little bit of shine to it. And I've got it on my 1/2-inch brush, and I'm just going to add it here and there to my snowman. Just a little bit here, a little bit there, kind of still following the lines of his body, you know. And it's a fun little thing to add. I'll put a little bit on his face. He wants to glitter up there too. He wants to shine. Put some on his nose. Cute. You can put some on the tree here too. Now, this is almost just a dry brush. I'm not putting it on too thick because I don't like it that thick. Now, you might like it thick, so I'm putting some on the tree, a little bit on the berries up here, the greenery, wherever you want to. You can put it on your banner here too. Now, we've got to do our wording. And if you have a paint pen, you might want to do the paint pen. But if you want to I didn't ask you to do a paint pen, but if you have a white one, you might want to use it instead. And for your lettering, get that off of there. I got blue on there, bugging me. Bugging me. So, but let me show you how, anytime you do lettering. Now, lettering is really not my jam. I don't like lettering. I'll be honest with you. I've done some, but I don't like it. It's not my thing, you know. So, I will probably do a paint pen on this, honestly, but I will show you when you do lettering and you do a brush, then you're going to want to do it probably something like this. I have Warm Winter Wishes across the top here, and you can write that in with a paint pen if you like to, or you can do it with your liner. So I'll show you a little bit how to do it with the liner. Basically, like I said, when you use your liner, you're going to dip your brush in water with acrylic paint, and you're going to pull off a little bit of paint off to the side. In this case, it's going to be white, and you make your paint inky, right? You want it to flow from that brush. You don't want it to goop up or anything. So your winter word is right in the center. So you're going to kind of have to maybe sketch it out. It would probably be beneficial to you to sketch it out. So let's just do that. Winter is my word in the middle. So I am going to write this out here. Now I know you don't see that, but I'll show you here in just a second. Then I'm going to do my wishes to the right of that. It was easier to do winter word in the middle first, because then I can kind of get the idea of where my lettering needs to be. Now I'm doing warm. So I have Warm Winter Wishes. I've got my paintbrush all loaded up here. And I'm holding my breath. Luckily, I haven't had any coffee since this morning, so I'm good. But you might like lettering. It's okay. It's not my favorite. See? I've got my paint thin, and that way it will flow off of my brush a lot better. Now this is something, you might want to take your time with, take a little breather, take a little break, and then come back and do. But I'm showing you real quick how I'm doing mine without a paint pen. This is with a liner brush. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Wasn't too much torture. Okay, the little snowflakes. I've got a few of them around here. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's still with your liner. It's still inky paint. Straight line down. One across. And then you kind of crisscross. See? Very simple. Got a larger one, and then let's do a smaller one. Straight line down. Across. And then X in the middle. Crisscross. These are simple little snowflakes that you can put around here. Just kind of decide where you want them, you know. Like I have a large one over here. I'm probably going to put a large one up here. Just kind of balance it out. But these small little details make your painting, it just finishes it up. Just finishes it up. Okay. Got a few snowflakes on my banner. I've got my lettering. I probably will touch it up a little bit more on it. Make it a little bit smoother here in a little bit. Now remember, if you're still with me, guys, hang with me a little bit longer here, and I will put, if you are interested in getting a list of my favorite painting supplies, you are welcome to it, and I will give you the link in the comments when this is done. Just kind of check on that. So I hope everybody's had a good time. One thing I do see, like I've added a little gray here, just to add a little shadow effect on my, I mean, you know, guys, you could just do this forever now, right? But just a little bit of a gray here and there in my scarf. Just right on the white in the middle part. If I don't want that darker gray, just kind of water that down, make that a little lighter. But it just adds a little something. I don't know. Just adds it's a very simple little effect, and just adds a little something to it. That's it. But we could go on with this, guys, for a long time. But I hope you've had a great time. Shelly, you're very welcome. I'm glad you had a good time. Okay, Linda, your scarf is too short. Well, girlfriend, just pull that thing back out. Just bring it on out. Just go ahead and try to do that. Or, I don't know if you've got it out like this or you've got it down this way. I would think you would be able to bring it on out however short it is. So just work on that, girl. Just work on it, because, you know, that's part of this. That's the whole part of this is we learn and we grow from it. And I hope you guys have had a good time. Let me get the webcam here and you can see me. I can see you. No, I really can't see you, but anyway, I think I can, right? And I hope you guys, oh, you fixed it. Good, good. Yeah, just pull that on out. So anyway, this was a fun one to do. I hope you've had a great time. There's always some things that you can touch up on. Like I said, add your little glitter if you want to. Add more snowflakes wherever you want to. I mean, you can just, you make it your own because you're the artist, right? And I just try to help you walk step by step through to do it. So make sure that you check the comments here in a little bit. It takes me just a few minutes. Facebook sometimes gets a little glitchy in between the end of the lives, but check back. And if you would want to know some of my favorite art supplies, then check on it and click on the link and you'll find it. Also, be watching because I want to make sure that we're going to do a Valentine one. It's going to be a free one too. And also, I know what it is, but I'm not showing you yet. Sorry. But it is going to be chocolates. It's going to be Valentine's and chocolates. So if you think that might be something that you might want to paint with me, then be looking on my page. Make sure you follow my page. And also, this one will be on, you can watch the replay on my page. Now, sometimes they move it after so many days on the Facebook page. But I am also going to download it on my YouTube channel, and it's Vicki Jean Wilson Art on YouTube, so you will be able to see it there also too. So just takes me a little bit of time to get everything, changed over, but I will be getting that tonight done for you. So you will be able to see it and maybe paint with your grandkids or friends or whatever you want to do. So be checking back for the Valentine one because it's coming up real soon. And I'm just so glad that I've been able to paint with you guys and feel good enough to do it. So I am going to finish up my tea here. I'm going to get this done here. And you guys have a good rest of your Sunday. And thank you for painting with me. It was nice to see everybody here and the different places that you were from. And send a picture, put it on my page or something. Send it when you get your paintings done because I love to see them. I love to see them, and everybody does them a little different, right? That's what makes us all so unique. So, well, we have been on here a while, guys. Thank you for joining. Much love to you, and I will just talk to you later. Bye-bye.